All right, guys.
You put this on. Hey, you put this on the non-payroll.
I think so.
I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Got the weeks
Let's see.
Cochran debate.
Yeah, I think I just put it up there.
Okay.
Let's see here. To be honest with you,
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to get back. Might want to refresh your screen. It's 2 minutes ago. I gotta get that picture over there. What the hell?
Your forehead.
Yeah, big as for it. Did you find it?
Uh-uh.
I'll send it to you on Messenger.
Still not up there.
All right, all right, all right.
Water.
All right, all right, all right.
There you go. Water.
Can you get me a water?
Water. Can you give me a water?
Water. Like and share, like and share, like and share. Water. Like and share, like and share, like and share. Like and share, like and share, like and share. Thank you, sir. I'm mistaken.
What?
If I'm not mistaken, college was going to cost me like 20, right at 3 grand.
23 grand?
3 grand a year.
3 grand a year. That's 3 times 4 is $12,000. That's still too much money for college.
Well, the deal is, I mean,
And that was you staying at home, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even having to pay for the dorm.
yeah, we ended up, yeah, it was just, but it ended up being over 20 grand by the time it was over. And I didn't even graduate. Student loans. That's what I'm talking about. Crazy. I mean, you saddle a kid right out of high school, and you're like, hey, listen, you won't have to pay this off until
you graduate.
you graduate. Son, you're good.
Yeah. That's
No.
true. That's true. That is true. That is true. What music you playing tonight?
Don't ask me no questions. I won't tell you the lies. We're gonna start with that.
Okay.
All right, all right. Well, let's see here. See if we can stay out of trouble.
Yeah. It's gonna happen one night. Whether you want it to or not, it's gonna happen one night. Good, bad, or otherwise, it'll happen.
Look here. Okay. So many different noises. I had to cut. You are listening to Not on the Payroll right here at 107.3 FM KJAS. I am your host, Jay Sharp, and I am sitting here with my co host, Kerry Thomas. Kerry, how are you, sir?
Man, my alopecia is eating me up alive.
Is that what happened?
Yes, sir. Just eating me up
Eating you up.
alive. Yes.
Man, I think more people know what alopecia is today than they knew last week.
Before
That's for
Sunday.
sure.
Before Sunday.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. If you are out there, we appreciate you for tuning in. Like, share, follow, subscribe, click the bell, click the whatever. I don't know, man. Here's the thing. We are live right now on YouTube. You can go check us out over at YouTube. I guess you would have to search Not on the Payroll. You can go over to our Facebook page. You can check us out on, yeah, we're not on Twitter.
We're not on Twitter.
Not on Twitter
or Instagram
or Instagram
or Snapchat.
or Snapchat or any of the
I
other.
would, I wouldn't know how to work those anyway.
Facebook and YouTube is pretty much where it's at because we're old. Hey, we appreciate our sponsors, man. You know, sometimes you sponsor things and you don't really know what you're getting into.
Absolutely.
What's nice about our sponsors is they appreciate what we do, and not only that, they're resilient. They're resilient. I'll just say that they're resilient. If you haven't been over to Stewart Glass, maybe you haven't broken your glass in a while. All you have to do is take a baseball bat, go outside and smack your window in your car, and they can replace it for you. Or maybe you have some kids out there who's playing ball and you get your window busted. Or maybe you just go see a game or something like that, window busted. Stewart Glass, they can hook you up and help you out. I'm telling you, they have got what you need at Stewart Glass for your home and your auto. You need to check those guys out. We really appreciate them for standing behind us in what we do in the pursuit of truth and the pursuit of love, I would say. Truth and love. That's really kind of our motto around here.
Sure.
Truth and love.
Sure. Forget that happiness business.
Forget the happiness. We're going with truth and love. I figure if you find truth and love, you'll be happy enough. Right?
Sure. Why not?
We also want to thank Lake Area Pawn. Lake Area Pawn, if you're out there, we love you guys. We appreciate the weapons you've been able to supply me with. And
Have you
hey,
got that CZ yet?
man, I have it
Come on,
scheduled.
man.
I know.
Come on, man.
I have a day scheduled where I'm just going to go wear myself out.
Come on, man. You
And
gotta
so,
shoot that thing.
got the CZ, got the Desert Eagle. If you're out there, have you ever shot a Canic? Is it Canic?
Canic.
Canic? It's newer gun.
No. Is it one
Okay.
of those German-made guns?
Man, I'm not sure all the details on
Okay.
it. It's pretty slick and it had a great grip and whatnot. But then my wife spotted the Desert Eagle, so we went with the
Okay.
Desert Eagle. But nonetheless, if you're out there and you are in need of weaponry of any kind, hey, are you looking for ammo? A lot of people are looking for
Right now
ammo.
they are.
And to be honest with you, I think they're looking for ammo because they haven't been over to Lake Area Pond because I think he bought them all out. There's plenty of ammo over at Lake Erie Pond. If you're looking for rifles, shotguns, pistols, whatever the case may be, knives, jewelry, a saddle to ride away from the scene,
Heck, musical instruments.
musical instruments, they've got you hooked up. Man, there's all kind of stuff over there. Go check them out at Lake Area Pond. If you've got something you need to pawn, you got a gun you need to get rid of, go talk to them.
Or a guitar you can't play.
Or a guitar you can't play,
Yeah.
or a tuba, or a violin. Did you ever play in the band?
Yes, I was.
What did you play?
I played a euphonium.
What?
Baritone.
What? I don't even know what that
It
would
looks
look
like
like.
a small tuba.
Looks like a small tuba.
Yes.
Okay.
High school and college.
High school and college.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes,
What-
sir. As a matter of fact, I met my wife in the college band. Right, there was a reason to go to school.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this has took a turn for the worse. No, I'm playing. Now, you remind me of a tuba guy. I don't know why. You remind me of
I
a
got
tuba.
that build.
Yeah, you got the, yeah,
I got that build.
you got that.
I got that
Yeah,
build.
you got the shoulder build. Yeah.
But no, it's not the shoulders. It's the
Well, here's the deal. If you're
girth.
looking for a tuba, or what did you call it?
A euphonium.
A euphonium. If you're looking for a euphonium, go down to Lake Area Pond. Man, we appreciate you guys for listening and tuning in. It's going to be a crazy little show here because a lot has happened. A lot has happened here in the last 7 days, and so we want to just take a. If I could put it this way, we're going to try to frolic through.
Frolic?
Fro- we're going to try to frolic through some of our topics here
Sure,
and
why
just
not?
see what we can get into. Man, how was your week? I mean,
Pretty good, man. It
other
was
than the
pretty good.
alopecia.
Other than my alopecia, I'm doing pretty good, man. It's a real good week, as a matter of fact.
Man, I
You
tell
know,
you,
got some rain, needed some rain,
hey,
got some
it
rain.
looks like spring right now.
It is spring.
It looks like
Azalea
spring right
bushes
now.
are all in full bloom.
I walked out this morning, had to wear a jacket, and by 9 o'clock, I had to
Had
take
to
it
peel
off.
it off.
That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah.
So
I was
I
in.
tell you,
It's nice.
it's
You know,
pretty
the
crazy.
drive up 96 was wonderful. I
Yeah,
mean, everything's in bloom.
yeah. And matter of fact,
Of
me
course,
and my
my
wife.
drainage is killing me, but
Sure, sure. My wife, me and my wife drove up to Center earlier, and we drove back, and we were just admiring the green and everything. And to be honest with you, sometimes you have to look for reasons to make you feel good about living in a place, right?
right.
And
Are you talking
because
about East Texas here, or
I'm talking about anywhere,
okay?
because every place has its own redundancy.
Well, every place has its own problems. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but whenever it comes around to springtime is like, man, okay, this is why we're here. You know what I'm saying? Spring is, I mean, it's a
Well, it
great,
is
it's
because
very
it's
pretty.
colorful here.
It is
It
very
is
pretty.
colorful here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start peeling the onion back. Get
Here we
ready.
go.
Put your seatbelts on. Keep your hands and feet inside inside the cart at all times. Because here's the deal. Got new information concerning, I say new information, it's old information, but new information to you maybe, concerning broadband here in Jasper. Guys, I want to just encourage you on something. Um, I'll say guys and girls and everywhere in between.
Sure.
The citizens of a community are the ones who are supposed to hold those accountable who are in leadership. That's part of being in leadership, is being able to be held accountable. And so my encouragement for the listener out there tonight is that you do not go to sleep on this broadband situation. Broadband is still very much, although they have pushed it to the back burner by postponing it indefinitely, there's still push and some motivation toward broadband. Interestingly enough, there's a special called meeting on April 5th.
Tuesday.
On Tuesday, think about how convenient this is for the citizens. It's on Tuesday at 3 p.m.
3 o'clock. Everybody's still at work at 3. Heck, the kids aren't even out of school yet.
I'm not worried about that, Carrie. Here's the deal. We're going to have a question and answer, doggone it. We are going to have a question and answer with Mr. Nathan Watkins at the city council. Special call meeting. If you're out there and you're confused, hey, they're at least giving you an opportunity. You may have to take the day off from work, or ask the boss if you can skip out around 2:30 so you can make it down there.
Have somebody go by and pick up the kids for you.
Exactly. What is happening? I don't get this at all. If you're out there and you want to call in and chime in, we ask that you hold your comments to one phone call per night. That's a little inside joke there.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. Special called meeting April 5th at 3 p.m. April 5th at 3 p.m. with Mr. Nathan Watkins. Ladies and gentlemen, our first caller of the evening. Go ahead, caller. You probably played a French horn. I hear you, man. What's going on? Yeah, he's working on it. We got
Yeah.
it. We got him this cream stuff.
Yeah, cream, and it's working miracles.
This duck butter. That's exactly right. Tomorrow is April 1st. That's exactly right.
Yes, sir.
Elections are right around the corner. Yep. Yep.
April 25th, April 29th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. May 3rd, May 2nd, and May 3rd, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You know what you got to get out and do?
You got to check that box.
Check that box. I'll be putting my yard signs out pretty soon. It's going to be Proposition A. Vote yes. Proposition A, if you want your utility bills low. Now, let me say this. You know, we've paid that bond off over there. And I'll tell you, utility bills have decreased some. But you want to make sure, and I'm not saying that the city will do this, Jay, but I want to let people know. This is something you want to vote on. Why do you want to vote on this? So, you, like you said, holding us accountable, council, city, what have you. You want to hold us accountable for what you have to pay for your utility bills. Once you vote yes on this, this gets passed, you can't blame it on us anymore. You can't blame it on the city anymore. You can say like you can run those two chest type freezers, those two upright freezers, those 8 air conditioners, and don't call the city and say my utility bill is high. If you don't vote on this, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
want to vote
You're
yes
right.
on this, and guess what? This is going to hold us accountable and say, okay, yeah, well, I know you can only charge me so much, so now it's on me to do what I got to do.
That's right. That's right. They got to show up.
You got to show up. Show up to vote. I mean, you got, what, District 3, District 4, District 5, council members.
Yep.
You know, you got DeMarcus Holmes, he's still running.
Yep.
And he's still running for District 3. You know, District 4, you got David Schultz. Who else? We got Steve Adams.
You got Steve Adams is running against David Schultz. You've got Rashad Lewis who's running against Laura Golden.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
So you guys got to vote. Vote your mind, vote your heart, vote how you think that. Vote for the person that you think is going to do the right thing for you. I'm not going to tell anybody how to vote. That's not up to me.
Yep.
Okay? I'm just going to say this. People, you can't sit back at home and say, well, you're not doing what we want you to do if you don't get out and put it. You can come to me and say whatever you want to me in my district.
Sure.
If you didn't get out and vote for me or against me, you don't have a leg to stand on.
That's right. That's right.
It does not mean that you won't be recognized as a citizen of Jasper, and you are. And I'm passionate about my town because I get out there and I do for the people. I do for the city of Jasper.
Sure.
That's why you put me in there.
Well, I tell you what. I guess we'll see how it goes come May 3rd.
See how it goes.
They're gonna have to do what they say in church. They're gonna have to show up and show out.
Show up and show out.
That's exactly right. Appreciate your call, man.
You're getting that broadband top.
We're gonna get on it.
I'm going to get that broadband top.
Yeah.
But just make sure people know, Jay. Make sure they know. Broadband is not a good idea. It's just that the city going internet is not a good idea.
I got you.
What do we say to Jay? You know, what's that amount? I can't think of it right now. I know you know how much it is. You probably got it written down there in front of you.
Yeah, it's more money than I want to spend.
It's like
More
18,
money than anybody should want.
17, 18.
That's 17. All right.
You got all these other companies around Jasper, all these other companies, the county, and everybody's coming in just to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, man, don't get it twisted now.
We're gonna get on. We're gonna get on that. We're gonna get on that. I got a few more bullet points we're gonna hit before we start knocking the nail on that one.
Yeah, I know you got your hammer in your hand.
That's right. Have a good night. Appreciate the call. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, in case you're wondering, that is Councilman Land. Councilman Land. And here's the deal. Councilman Anderson Land, he calls in frequently, and we appreciate him as a listener. Want to put out an invite. David Schultz, Laura Golden, Michael Daniel, Randy Sayers, anybody else, DeMarcus Holmes. If you're out there and you want to call in, give us a call. We don't have a special deal with Mr. Anderson Land. He is just available to communicate with us. So I'd just encourage you to go ahead and give us a call as well. Nonetheless, if you're out there and you're looking to call in, give us a call, 384-2626. That's 384-2626. One of the interesting parts about being here in the community and watching some of this go down is, and I'll be honest with you, I was very proud of everyone who stood up and was very clear with their perspective at the last council meeting.
All right.
I felt like that went that went as good as could be expected.
I think it went super well.
And I feel like sometimes when you score the ball, when you score in a game, sometimes you let your guard down. And I'll just say this. There's a reason why there's a special called meeting on April 5th at 3 p.m. for you to have a question and answer time with Nathan Watkins. There's a reason for that. I don't know what it is, but I'll be honest with you. We're all family here. And the scripture says that there is wisdom in a multitude of counsel. And I'll just tell you right now, if you're out there and you're talking to your friends and your buddies, hey, go ahead and let them know. 3 p.m., April 5th, go down there and see what's going on. You've also got April 11th, hold them accountable at City Hall. Go down there and hold them accountable. You are the people that they're supposed to be serving. And, only you can hold them accountable. I mean, you've got to hold them accountable in this vote. But one of the interesting things is this. I'm not throwing or casting stones, but it's, social media is an interesting place
It is.
because a lot of times, some days I'll wake up, and if any of you follow me on social media, I'm a moody type fella. I'll just say that much. I'm moody and a grump most of the time, and I know sometimes I portray myself as being very optimistic and gentle and kind and caring.
You aren't?
But see how good I am at it.
Oh,
See how good.
I'm
So
disappointed.
sometimes I post stuff on Facebook and social media, and it comes back to bite me in the rear whenever I see my memories a few years later. I'm like,
Happens to everyone.
I'm sitting here reading it, and I'm like, easy, Francis, calm down, And so,
A stripes reference.
so yeah, so I kind of step back, and if you have social media, I found this interesting. On July 15th, 2021, and I'm not going to say whose social media this was on, but I would like to put this out there. One of the city council people posted on July 15th, 2021, I abstained from voting on the budget for the city today. One of the line items was to run fiber optics for the city of Jasper. Running the fiber would only be beneficial for the city government, not the citizens of Jasper. With House Bill 5, talking about State House Bill 5,
Right.
passing at the state level and being labeled an emergency priority, I felt that instead of wasting Jasper residents' tax dollars, we should seek out state and federal funds that will be available in short order to run fiber optic for the entire city and beneficial for all residents. I hope this explains my actions that I took tonight well enough. Good night and God bless. Now,
And then isn't that what Sabine County did? They went ahead and got one of these grants that was guaranteed like
They got
that
it.
one.
they got a grant.
And
Newton County just got a grant.
right,
They had a grant for the south part of the county, just got another grant for the north part of the county. All we're saying here, guys, is broadband's cool. It's cool. It's going to be nice. We're all going to have fiber at some point because here's the deal. Big Brother wants to see what you're doing in your underwear. They want to see what you're doing in your underwear at your house.
Well, I got an Alexa, man.
You remember back in the day where they used to say, hey, when you turn that TV off, look at that little dot over there to the right.
They're watching you, man.
They're watching you
They're
through
watching
that.
you.
I've seen the
Yeah,
technology.
Yeah,
That's what they used to tell
yeah.
us.
All 200 million American at the time.
That's exactly right. They're keeping an eye on
300
you.
million now. Yeah.
It brings
Keeping
a,
an eye on you.
yeah, they're keeping an eye on
NSA.
you, just like the preacher
CIA.
said.
Yeah.
Just like the preacher said, that one-eyed monster.
That one-eyed monster. Sure.
Here's the deal, guys. You got to hold them accountable because if you don't, no one will. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a problem and a part of society that most people will not stand up until they are in physical pain to their oppressor. Now, I'm not going to jump off the deep end and call the city council the oppressors. I wouldn't do that.
Are you sure about that?
That's not my, absolutely. I don't feel like this is an oppressive thing. What I feel like is they were banking on the ignorance of society in this community.
Do you think they were just trying to pass, as we would say in the old days, a quick one? We're just going to do it while nobody's looking, as they would say. Here we go. And
Maybe
it's
so.
said and done.
Maybe so, but here's the thing. I can't speak for any of them. But I have, even since the last city council meeting, I reached out to Michael Daniels again,
Right.
messaged him. We can all come together and sit in peace and all talk this out like grown adults.
Right.
I've got no dog in the fight.
Right.
I can say that with all honesty.
Right. Did you hear back?
Sometimes the hurt dog is the one who squeals when the rock's thrown into the pile. And so to me, I'm kind of sitting here going, hey, if you won't come and sit down, and that don't say anything about me, because we can do this very civilly, and I've made this point already abundantly clear. We can do this civilly. We can all sit down and communicate, and we can all pray afterwards, if that makes everybody feel better. I can say a pretty good prayer. I've been working toward these
Hey,
things.
you're a preacher's kid,
Well,
yeah.
counseling has helped me a lot too. So, at the same time, if you're out there and you're tuning in, like, share, subscribe, click a bell, go over to
Tell your
Facebook,
friends.
tell your friends. Yeah, hey, this is not on the payroll, man. You never know what you're going to get here.
No kidding.
One of the things that we want to break down, and let's kind of dig into your list, man, a little bit.
Which one do you want to start on?
I'll be honest with you. We've got to start with the slap. The slap.
Why not? Everybody else in America has talked about it.
We
They
don't
were
want to.
talking about it on the sports channels the other day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what was your take?
Well, when I got up and saw it on the Drudge Report, first thing I pull up on in the morning is the Drudge Report.
Sure.
And I looked at it. I thought it was baloney. I just thought it was just baloney. I thought it was all staged until later on everybody goes nuts and you hear the aftermath and the swear words and all this and all
Right.
that. And
Live.
live. And you see the direct feed that went to Australia.
Yeah.
And you say, man,
What happened?
what happened here?
Mm-hmm.
What happened here? We have lost our minds in America.
I'll be honest with you.
What do you think?
I have always felt like Will Smith was on some level a phony. Now I know he's an actor, and that's what he's paid.
He's an actor. He has to be a phony.
But the whole laughing, over exaggerated laughing, those are key signs that this guy's got issues, severe issues with anger. It's just a part of it. If you break down the psychological side of it, all that is a masking effect. And so I've always watched him and thought, when that guy flips out, when he shorts out, he's probably problematic.
Do you think it's because the absolute rodeo he has at home?
There's no doubt.
And he's got a wife that's running around with one of his son's
There's
friends.
a lot.
His son is a non-binary. The daughter she's a little strange too. That whole family's a little strange.
Being liberal is fun and games until you look up and you're the poster child for it. And I mean, his whole family's kind of that way.
They're kind of strange.
And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and throw stones, but here's a couple things that bothered me about it. Number one, most people can't remember back this far. Some of our listeners drink and smoke a lot, but if you can't remember the last time that the Oscars was held, whenever Chris Rock was the host,
2016.
2016. 2016 was the time when a lot of the black folks decided to boycott the black actors and actresses. A lot of them decided to boycott the Oscars because there was too many. There weren't any. There was no representation in the nominations.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, interestingly enough, Chris Rock shows up, and I'll be honest with you. If you get an opportunity out there to go and watch Chris Rock's 2016 Oscar monologue, it is worth watching. It's worth watching. It's worth watching. He makes a joke about Jada Pinkett because Jada Will was boycott. We're going to boycott. Chris Rock stood on that stage, and instead of boycotting and not letting his voice be heard, now they were trying to let their voice be heard through a boycott.
Right.
Chris Rock shows up and rocked, for lack of a better way to put it, rocked the opening monologue.
Right.
And basically said, we want Hollywood. We understand Hollywood is racist.
Right.
like sorority racist, like you're not a Kappa.
You're not
It's pretty
not a
funny.
Phi Kappa Alpha. Yeah,
It's very funny,
right.
but it's very true.
Well,
And he calls them all out to their face and says, all we're asking for is the opportunities that Leo and some of these other guys, I say Leo like I know him, Leonardo DiCaprio,
yeah.
all
Bunch
these
of
other
hung
guys.
out.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching this, and he challenges and chastises them.
Okay.
And they all laugh through the whole process.
Right.
But he still got his points in.
Right.
Worth it.
Right.
100% worth it for him to show up. He made a joke at one point. He said, in 2016, that's when Kevin Hart was really blowing up. He said the last thing he needed was for Kevin Hart to steal one of his jobs. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah.
At the same time, one of the things there was a couple of issues here for me. There is a long-standing stereotype of black men, okay,
Right.
that there is a lack of being able to control their anger.
Okay.
Now, and I'm speaking for my end of the white community, that this is kind of a known thing. It's kind of like, you know, a white man puts on a stereotype for a white man would be, a white man puts on a suit, he starts trying to take over stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just a stereotype. He puts on he can't he puts on a suit and here he goes.
You're making a
But
knock at me because I wore a sports coat
no,
today.
no. You're mighty debonair there. But at the same time, my point is, white people try or white men try to, in a lot of ways. This is a big generalization here,
Okay.
but taking over things, right?
Okay.
But as far as this stereotype of black men not being able to control their anger, this exploited that thing,
Right.
and at the expense of Chris Rock, who I've always liked Chris Rock. He's got some
Oh, he's
wrong.
funny.
He's funny.
He's
He's got
funny.
some crazy stuff
I
out
mean,
there.
he's got some rough stuff.
He does. At the same time, he is a long time victim of bullying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody knows
Yeah.
this or not,
When
but
he
if you
when he
watch,
was in Brooklyn, he was. Yeah.
he said he made a statement. He was talking about how he was trying to work through counseling to get over the bullying and put it in his past.
Right.
And so, long and short of it, I feel like Will Smith took the bigger slap in this process. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's just going to give Chris Rock more material for his stand-up.
Yeah. At some point, he's going to sit down and write it up, and you're going to hear about it.
Well, he's already
And
making jokes about it 2 nights ago.
yeah, I knew that, but not as much as what he's going to. He's going to be on Showtime
there's
or
going to be a lot,
HBO or
absolutely.
Netflix, and he's going to get his own special, and he's just
Yeah.
going to go nuts on it.
Well, and that's all true. It's all probably true there.
Right.
The thing that I think is this: the very thing that Chris Rock was speaking about in 2016, give us more opportunities. Since 2016 has happened.
Right.
Now, I will say this: it's a shame that he had to stand there and confront everyone in 2016. Okay?
Right.
Now, you have Will Smith, who, for all practical purposes, was going to win that Oscar award.
Sure. Well, he's been lobbying for one for years, literally
Sure,
lobbying.
but even before the show, they're asking Denzel Washington. They asked him, "How do you feel if Will wins?"
Right.
So it almost feels like, to be honest with you, I think all of this
A
stuff.
done
One
deal.
of the things that we've got to remember here is this, ladies and gentlemen, is that these people are all actors, and we are the product. And they sell a product to us, which is Pfizer and all these other companies who sponsor their Oscars. Okay? Here's the interesting part. Could it be that these award shows are nothing more than for our entertainment, all smoke and mirrors, and all paid off by production companies in the whole 9 yards?
So are we talking conspiracy theory here,
All
Jay?
I'm saying is this: it's a question. It's just a
Okay.
question. Because how hard would it be to pull any wool over our eyes sitting
How
out here on
much
the viewing side?
how much do you think this may have been done by at least one of the parties in, I'm going to conspiracy theory here, okay?
Okay.
One party does one thing to another in order to ensure that he receives the Oscar. So next year, the ratings will increase.
It's very interesting you say that.
Think about that a little
It's
bit.
very interesting you say that.
Because the ratings were second lowest in history.
Well, you ask
Yeah.
and I deliver.
Okay.
So, so, here's what's crazy. In the last 10 years since 2012, now I want you to think about this. 2022, this past Oscars, they've had a massive decline.
Right.
2022, 16.6 million viewers. 16.6
That's nothing.
million viewers.
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
Now, here's what's crazy. The Oscars, most people are dropping off of this bandwagon because of all of the politics that's involved.
Sure.
Okay. And this is happening to national sports as well. Same
Sure.
thing.
Sure. I can't tell you the last time I've seen a baseball or basketball game.
NBA, irrelevant.
Yeah.
I don't care who's playing. I don't care if LeBron James is playing. It's irrelevant at this point.
You know, I used to be a huge baseball fan. I can't tell you the last baseball game I've seen.
Yeah, it's
I don't
all,
care.
It's all turned to politics.
I couldn't tell you an Astro.
So here's what's nuts. So 16.6 million this year, 9.8 million last year. Okay. Then in 2020, you had 23.6 million. 2019, 29.6. It ramps up to 77.92 million in 2013. Now, I'll be honest with you. In the last decade, you've got 43 whites who have been nominated, 8 black, 4 of which are Denzel Washington, which is a very, very interesting thing to me. 3 Spanish guys, 1 South Korean, and 1 British Pakistani rapper.
Who's the British Pakistani rapper?
Look it up. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
I'm pulling for that guy, though.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, what
All right.
in the last decade?
And this is for Best Actor.
Best Actor.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here looking at all this. I mean, because here's the thing. You have Denzel, then you have the 12 Years a Slave. I can't pronounce the gentleman's name. Then you have Chadwick Boseman. You've got a number of these guys. I mean, to me, Antonio Banderas, you know, he ought to at least win something at some point.
At some point, he should, yes.
For Desperado, it was a great film.
That was a good movie.
So anyway, neither here nor there. My point still stands as far as statistics go. It was ugly. It was a bloodbath. This thing is falling apart at the seams. And what's crazy to me is we sit out here and we think this is really an award show because they all dressed up and repeated lines and they all communicated as though this was a live event, which it was. But I think, this is just my perspective, I think there was something planned in this process. I don't think Chris Rock was in on it. You could tell whenever he was blown away.
Yeah, because he was just stunned.
Now, I will say this. He has a chin.
I'll tell you what.
Give it to him.
I'll tell you what. He weighs, what, about 55?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know, and he took that left slap.
Yeah.
If you're out there and you're just tuning in, this is not on the payroll. Like, share, subscribe. We're on Facebook and YouTube, and we are live right now. We're here with you every Thursday night, 7 o'clock here on KJAS. Give us a call if you want to chime in, 384-2626. Do you feel like the slap was real? I'm kind of honestly seeing all of the overreaction from everyone. I'm even sickened by talking about this. But the truth is, this is the topic of the day. And here's the other interesting part. The Oscars, the administrators or the board over the Oscars came out and said that they asked him to leave.
Right.
And he refused.
Later on, have you read TMZ has also come back and said he was never asked to leave.
He was never asked to leave.
He was never asked to leave.
Well, here's what's crazy.
That's a lie
That
from
they
the
tell
Academy.
Well, here's
That's
what's
a lie
crazy.
from the
This is
Academy.
what's nuts to me. If me or you would have got up, walked up there, and smacked Chris Rock in the face,
Would have been in the LA County Jail.
we would have been tackled before we got off the stage.
Sure.
But because Will Smith is who Will Smith is, he gets a
He
pass.
got away with it. Yeah.
Now, here's what they're going to try to punish him. They're going to do something minuscule.
And they're not going to do it until April 16th.
Exactly. We're going to hold out. Here's what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen. Life is a big charade. The entertainment industry is a big charade. The whole purpose of television programming is to do exactly that. It's to program you into a lull. This is a construct that was created not just out of the good hearts of the men and women who want to entertain and sing a pretty song and learn how to act and play Macbeth. It's
Yeah.
much
When's the
deeper
last
than
time
that.
you've seen Macbeth on TV?
It's much different than that. I'm just saying, as a whole, from an artist standpoint, it's not controlled by artists. It's controlled by those in Hollywood and even in Nashville. I mean, you hear the horror
Yeah,
stories.
Nashville's horrible.
To
The
me,
rock the music industry's horrible.
the music industry is rough,
Yeah.
but all of it is a construct. We were born into it, so we think this is how it's always supposed to be, or it always has been, so this is how it's always supposed to be, and always gonna be. But the fact of the matter is it so far fetched to think that a whole group of actors, A list, B list, C list, D list actors, could all show up on one night, parade in their gowns, showing the elegance and grandeur of, hey, you need to come to Hollywood because this is where the cool club's at. I was very impressed with Jim Carrey's take on it. He said, it's really kind of disgusting at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gross.
Well, once again, there was a complete difference between the Hollywood crowd who stood up and applauded Will Smith for the slap,
Ovation.
and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the comic community. And
Yeah.
the comic community was they're appalled.
Now, here's the other part that bothers me about this. He won an award for playing a very active and involved black father.
Right.
There's something twisted to this whole thing. There is something real twisted to this whole thing to me.
And I am wondering how much is involved in trying to get aftermarket sales and get people to watch it now. Because
Maybe so.
yeah, and I'm wondering about that because I saw it on the marquee when Debbie and I went to the movies whenever it was being played. And I thought it was the replay of Shakespeare's Richard III.
I got you.
I didn't have a clue what it was about.
Yeah. Yeah. All I can say is this. It was very, very, it's an unfortunate situation to begin with. But I'll be honest with you. Chris Rock made the statement that he was looking forward to G.I. Jane 2.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, Jada Pinkett Smith is an attractive lady, and I think she could do a hell of a job at G.I. Jane 2. If that's the case.
Yeah, why not?
Now, granted, everybody wants to jump into their feelings and say, oh, she's struggling from a health condition called alopecia. Now, I'm not going to jump on any kind of real conspiracy theory if you want to go down conspiracy theory lane. But go look at who the sponsors were for the Oscars and go look at the drug that they're currently testing for right now and what it's supposed to correct.
Alopecia?
And guess who it's by? Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is this.
That doesn't surprise me.
It is disturbing to me how we eat everything on the plate as adults. I remember that as a kid. My dad would say, by God, you eat everything on the plate. I'm like, Dad, I don't like mustard greens. You eat them.
Do you like them now?
No. Turnip greens, I'm down with that. As long as the turnip greens taste like bacon, I'm down with that. It's got to taste like bacon.
A little cornbread action with it.
Cornbread,
yeah.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. I just think this. I think as adults, we forget that we're being played a lot of times. And I think this is one of those situations where we all got played because there was a lot of lawsuits that went out. You didn't hear about Ukraine for a few days. If you start digging into Ukraine, you will understand There are so many different United States ties to Ukraine and Russia and all these different little groups and different countries over there that they're, before all this went down, we were all kind of afraid about the might of mighty Russia.
Man, they're a paper tiger, aren't they? They can't beat.
It's the equivalent. It's
Yeah,
the equivalent of us trying to go down and jump on Haiti, and
yeah,
Haiti stands up and is like,
and
"Well,
whips
now,"
us.
and
Yeah,
it tears us up.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, we got to come back over to Florida and lick our wounds and get on the beach for a
yeah.
while and chill out. I mean, it's that type of situation. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here. You know, I heard somewhere it said, "Don't let the left hand know what your right hand's doing." And I think there's a lot of that. It's almost like we got ventriloquist dummies in front of us. You've got you've got politics and news media, which news media, since the inception of CNN, became entertainment.
All right,
It was the first 24-hour entertainment news.
right.
And now you're kind of in a position where you've got these two entertainment situations saying, you know, keep you distracted,
All the
keep you
news,
distracted.
all the news are now.
That's it.
Whether it's Fox, CNN,
Yeah,
MSNBC, it's no news. It's
it is.
all entertainment.
It is all news
I have
and
quit watching
entertainment.
them. I have literally quit watching any kind of news.
Yeah,
I basically can do 30 minutes of news and that's it.
yeah.
And I'm done.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what's,
I don't know where this takes us because
and I'm keep,
what can you rely on right now? Honest to God, what can you rely on? Can you rely on the news? Can you rely on entertainment to even entertain you? I'll be honest
can
with
you
you.
rely on the church?
That's a great point. I think society is breaking apart in front of us.
In this country, it is. I think so.
It's breaking apart in front of us. And it's almost like it's way more fragile than we really realized. I mean, it's like some of the stuff going on with church, with some of the churches, some of the national churches right now, like Hillsong.
Right.
Another situation where a man. I'll be honest with you. I'm not for. I am not a proponent of one man church leadership. There's got to be some level of board and accountability. And to be honest with you, whenever you get in some of these big mega churches and you've got one guy who's the head dingling there, and he's out there, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? He's going to unfortunately fall to his more base human instincts.
Right.
And when he's worshipped as God, he's going to
Gonna
start
act as
trying to
God.
act as God.
Well, Jay, and the thing is, I keep reading about these ministers who get into trouble, and the denomination will either hide or take up for them in some way or another. And I'm sitting there going, what's going on here? And they will move some of these guys around that will get in trouble in some sort of an entanglement, as the word is called
Yeah,
now
yeah, yeah,
today.
yeah.
Some sort of an entanglement, and will move them from Florida to Texas in a new church where they don't know what happened to them down in Florida. And I'm sitting there going,
With,
next thing you know, in Texas, they're doing the same thing.
yeah, with no database as to anything,
It's going on.
any ill propriety.
So, I don't know.
It really is. In a way, it's kind of depressing
What's
to
bad
sit.
depressing?
It's kind of depressing. But one of the things I'd like to encourage everybody on, and I really want you to think about this out here. Life has these constructs out here that we live inside of. And we're going to talk about this more because this is really at the core of who we are as people. You're controlled a lot of times. Constructs are built to maintain some level of order. Constructs are built to maintain some level of peace. Constructs are here a lot of times to maintain a certain level of control by the ones who orchestrate the construct. Okay? So, what I will say is this: have you ever considered stepping outside the construct? Now, when you retire,
That's easy to do.
that's an interesting
easy
thing
to
to
do.
do.
It's easy to do.
So, how has it been for you since you retired? I mean, honest to God, I mean, just far as stress level, pressure, mental
It's been the
anxiety.
greatest job I've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I don't have to worry about stinking school. I
Yeah,
don't have to worry about stinking administrators. I don't have to worry about stinking parents.
yeah,
I don't have to worry about stinking grades
right,
or
right.
grading papers. Nothing.
So
Nothing.
you wake up and whatever your day determines
Whatever I
for
want to
you,
do today.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great job.
Now let me ask you this:
Yes.
if you could have found this earlier,
Right.
this place of almost detached from a construct, if you will, would you have pulled the trigger and done it? If you could have been taken care of monetarily,
Monetarily, yeah, sure.
pull the trigger and done it.
Sure. Sure. I like my time there, but but if I'd have
It
been
doesn't
rich, I wouldn't
compare.
have done it.
It doesn't
If I'd
compare.
been rich, nah, I ain't doing this.
Yeah.
You know? And I
Interesting.
like and I like the kids and I like doing it and I was fairly good at it. I wasn't super, but I was fairly good at it. And I'm sitting there going, nah, if I was, I'd inherited several $1 million, nah, I ain't teaching school. I don't,
You just
yeah,
enjoyed
yeah, I'd probably
enjoyed
do what I'm
life.
doing now. Yeah,
You just enjoyed life.
exactly.
See, to me, I think this is part of the dilemma is people put off the enjoyment of life on so many levels
That's true.
until they retire. How many stories have you heard of men retiring from work only to die within the next 5 years?
Uh, well, there's an old Mad Men skit. I don't know if you've seen that or not, where Burt Cooper goes in and tells Roger Sterling, says, "Hey, if you retire, you'll be dead within 3 years."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
And
mean
I'm
that.
sitting there
Yeah.
going, I don't understand that concept. I'm going on 12 years now, and
Yeah.
I'm doing my health's
He's
better now than when it
he's.
was.
I remember. I remember when my grandfather retired. He had worked out at the paper mill in Evadale for 36 years.
Right.
He retires, comes home. He's home for about 3 or 4 weeks, a month maybe. And me and him were sitting in the living room, and he says, "I said, well, how you enjoying retirement?" He just looked at me, he got wide eyed, and he just shook his head. He's like, "Me and your grandma hadn't spent this much time together, and I don't know how long." It wasn't a couple of months. He was back. He was
Went
like
back to
driving.
work.
He's driving a truck for Rinsenberger or something like that, just to get out of the house.
Oh,
And I mean,
God.
there's some of that too.
Yeah,
There's some of that
I
too.
understand that.
And I don't know. I just think this. I think we live in a world where we have the option at this point. Maybe your means, or maybe your bills are too high. Maybe maybe your work ethic is not strong. Right?
Maybe you're just overspending.
Could
Think
be.
about how many people got to have that new boat, got
But
to have that third house.
so if we go back to entertainment, what's the construct that tells us what's cool or what's acceptable?
That third house, that boat.
That's exactly right. So we're chasing all these other things, and we'll enjoy them when we retire. I'll be honest with you. My grandfather, my dad's dad, a World War II guy, he I asked him why he went to the church that was just right down the street. I
Right.
said, because he was what you'd call a spirit-filled Christian, right?
Okay.
And believed in he could raise his hand, right?
Okay.
But he went to this little Baptist church, right?
Okay. Okay.
Kind of an interesting little mix there.
And Lord knows you don't put your hands up in the Baptist
Well,
church.
he would.
Really?
He would. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, why do you go to that Baptist church over there?" He goes, "The Lord put that church right there for me, so I wouldn't have to drive all over creation to go find a place to worship with the saints of the Lord."
Okay.
It was just that easy for me.
Okay. That works.
And I
That
thought,
works.
at the time, I thought, that is completely absurd, sir.
No.
But now I'm
It
sitting
makes
here
sense,
going,
doesn't it?
I'm sitting here
Makes
going,
sense, doesn't it?
it makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Makes sense.
Why are we complicating this thing?
Yeah.
Can we step outside the constructs? And that was a guy who was honest to God out of the construct. This guy, I mean, he would go and he would work. He'd work during the year as a framing carpenter.
Okay.
And then once it got about 3 or 4 days out from hunting season, he'd go asking for his layoff. And they'd lay him off, and he would go hunt and fish until spring came back. And I'm thinking, what in the world? I mean, he totally lived in a different
Yeah.
world.
Different world. Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think there's so much complication, and there's so much white noise, and there's so much confusion. it's almost like stirring up a almost like a pursuit of just a pure life. Just go out here, raise some chickens,
Do you think this
love your
this
family.
do you think this confusion and got to keep up with the Joneses is going to get worse?
I think for some people it will, but I think in the long run, I think that's my challenge to people out here is what is the simple life? What's your definition of a simple life that just makes you happy outside of stuff and things and outside of got to have the bigger, better thing?
All right.
You know, what I mean, why is that our motivator? And could it be this construct of entertainment and Hollywood and all this stuff has whet that appetite to be a consumer, to constantly consume something?
Oh, sure it
I
has.
mean, I'd be
Of
very
course it
interested
has.
to know how many people have fasted food in the last since the beginning of the year. How many of you have fasted food out here, even one day? Just fasted food.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here reading some research about cancer. A cancer researcher is talking about if, and listen, I'm not a cancer researcher guy, but I'm just telling you what he said. And this guy's actually kind of interesting because he's pretty legit in the cancer world. He said if people would fast 7 consecutive days once a year, that would eradicate up to 95% of the cancers that we currently know about because the body has its own healing processes and the body goes into what's called autophagy. Now, here's all I'm saying. Why am I throwing this out here? Because some of these constructs, see, the construct is built by man. The healthcare system was built by man. We were talking about it. It goes back to one or two guys, really,
Yeah.
who developed that in this country.
Right.
The church system was developed by men.
Right.
I heard a preacher say the other day, he made the statement, he said, God is looking for a corporate expression. And I'm sitting here going, if Jesus was here and he didn't go around carrying a KFC bucket for all the money that he was going to collect and a pulpit and a pulpit committee, and
Think what he
why
did
didn't
to
he
the
do it?
money. But think what he did to the money changers at the church.
Exactly. Why didn't Jesus spend his 3 years in ministry trying to build a corporate expression? Jesus came and it's almost like he was showing us what a personal relationship with people was and how to love people and how to care for people in society.
We don't pay attention to that in the church.
Because
We're
the
gonna
constructs,
because we're going to preach on Paul. We're going to preach on Paul, and you've got to be act this, and this way in the
the
constructs.
construct, this is, you come to us and we'll tell you how to get to heaven. And then if you check all of our boxes, we're going to pat you on the head and you get to go to heaven. Hallelujah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of these little constructs like this control our lives. And all I'm saying is this: what is the simple definition of happiness and peace for you? What does that mean for you out there? You know what I'm saying? I mean, for Carrie, it's obvious retirement.
Sure.
Retirement.
Like I
Now,
said, greatest job I ever had.
and then when your wife retires, it's like you guys are
I don't know what we're going to do. We need to go someplace, I guess.
you're gonna travel
Sure.
more.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, you're gonna go see the world. You're gonna go
Sure.
see the things that you worked
Sure.
hard to get to. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But the constructs, to me, are in a way controlling most of society. And now these constructs are quaking. It's almost like they're creating. It's almost like you have a squeaky wheel and you know it's going bad because it's starting to grind
The whole country's this way. The whole
from
country.
politics
Yeah.
and everything.
You're just waiting for the country just to fall apart. And it's just a matter of time.
So my question is this: if we're looking, say, to be honest with you, we might just be. I'm not saying this facetiously, but I might be. Me and you might be two prophetic types.
Well, I don't know about pathetic, but
Well, we're looking down the road and we're
yeah.
saying, okay, 2 + 2 = 4, and always has been. And this looks pretty rough, right?
Yeah, it does.
It looks
It
rough.
does. It does.
So how do you, for you and your family, how do you, as a man, because a man, in a lot of ways, at least my interpretation of it is supposed to be something that his family can lean on.
Well, we have prepped a little.
So you're a prepper.
Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit. A little bit.
I would
I'm
love
not
to
going to
be.
go in. I'm not going to go
No,
into it a lot. Yeah.
no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine because I mean, to me, I think there's a lot to.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to being self-sustained. I think there's a lot to being prepared.
Right.
Scripture says a lot about being
Right.
prepared. And so I'm sitting back here going, matter of fact, there's a gentleman here in town, here in the region. I don't know if he's still here or not, but he had a website called Survivalist Board.
Right.
It's a huge, huge thing.
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
He lives here locally.
Yeah.
Does videos in the whole 9 yards. I'd love to have him in to talk to us about how to be prepared.
Wasn't he on the original?
He may have been.
Yeah, I think he
may
was
have
on the
been.
original. Yeah.
Okay. His name is Kevin, but
Right.
great. I mean, he seemed like a great guy, man, but very dialed in on preparedness. And I'll be honest with you, man, I'm just, my counselor says I go from looking at very introspective things to looking at very global things, within a matter of a conversation.
Right.
But to be honest with you, it's almost like if you start looking at these constructs on a global level, and then you back them down to a national level, then you back them to state, county, and city, you'll start seeing that some of these constructs have all the same working parts,
Sure.
different names, maybe some of the same names in this construct versus that construct. And most of these constructs were nothing more than to control the flow of water, the flow of people,
Or the flow of information.
flow of information. I am in a pursuit right now myself to try to figure out how I can find that peace outside of constructs. We've had a number of people invite us to church, and I appreciate all the invites.
Are you going to go?
Do not care.
Okay.
Do not care.
Okay. I was fixing to have to talk to you after the show.
At the end of the day, it really boils down to find it, kind of like my grandfather said. You got to find your relationship with God on your own 2 feet.
That's true.
And to be honest with you, in society, it's the same way. You got to find your relationship with the white noise and the distraction and all of the confusion out here. You got to find it out here on your own 2 feet. And to me, right now, building a chicken pen. I'm building a chicken pen. I've got some chickens. I can look at them. They play around, jump around, try to bite me. But it's laid back. It's simple life. And I'll be honest with you, nobody's challenging anyone to a simple life right now.
Right.
Everything is more complicated. You got to have the newer, bigger phone. You got to have the newer, bigger vehicle.
Sure.
If you have a gas or a diesel, you need a Tesla.
Yeah.
It's always one next step.
Oh, yeah.
I
I know people like that. Yeah.
And it rules their life.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're sitting out there and you're listening, you do not have to be controlled by the construct. You don't have to be controlled by it because there is a way out. And to be honest with you, you're the only one who can find that way out. You can find others. I've known people who have went to church, and then they bailed out on church because, for some reason, what was going on in the church didn't match up to what they felt like Jesus was doing or whatever the case is, or what Jesus did in Scripture. You're among friends. I'm all for supporting local gatherings on some level. But at the end of the day, if it stands in between you and your relationship with Jesus, I think you really need to kind of step back and ask yourself why. Somebody said one time, wasn't it the religious folks that pulled the cross out?
Yeah.
And the nails?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something to consider.
Give us Barabbas.
Give us Barabbas.
Yeah.
The guy that we know is guilty.
Yeah.
Give us him.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Not on the Payroll. Regardless of what anybody in this world tells you, we love you and we appreciate you for tuning in. We're here with you every Thursday night. Check us out at 7 o'clock. Check us out on Facebook and on YouTube. We've got a debate coming up May 3rd, I think it is.
Yes, sir.
May 3rd is a debate over in Newton County. If you get a chance, tune in, log in, do whatever you need to do. But we are done for tonight. Find the simple life and stop slapping people out there.
Not America.